So this first slide is summarizing all of the additions and enhancements that are introduced inside this new release of Avizo 9. During this presentation, I will mix PowerPoint slides and also live demonstration of Avizo to highlight some of the points that are described here. First, we are introducing a new extension to Avizo that we call XFiber that is specialized in fiber tracing and also include a filament editor that I will demonstrate a little bit later. The XFiber extension that allows for absolute permeability simulation that was only available under Windows with previous version of Avizo is now available under Linux and Mac OS. I will speak about the new organization of Avizo editions and the new naming of our application. I will go through some of the user interface enhancements that have been introduced inside Avizo 9 in order to make user experience easier and a shorter learning curve for the application. So I will detail some of this user interface enhancement that we are adding to Avizo 9. Some import and export enhancement also have been introduced inside this new release. I will list new features and enhanced modules as well as performance improvements that have been added to Avizo 9. Performance improvement both for image processing modules but also for a lot of different computation modules. And then we will go through a license management enhancement and some of the documentation enhancement that have been introduced inside this Avizo 9 release. With Avizo 9, we are coming with a new packaging and new names for our applications. What used to be Avizo or Avizo Standard is now called Avizo Lite. What used to be Avizo Fire is now simply called Avizo. And we are still providing Avizo for FEI systems, which is the version that is coming with FEI microscopes. The former Wind Edition, Green Edition and Earth Edition of Avizo are now extensions to Avizo Lite or Avizo named X-Wind, X-Green and X-Earth. We are introducing this new XFiber extension that allows for fiber tracking and editing. We are also still providing our XLab extension for different material simulation. So the big difference is that now XLab Hydro for our absolute permeability simulation is also available under Linux and Mac OS, while the other extension, Thermo, Electro and Diffusion, are still only available under Windows. Xpand, Xscreen, XL Volume and Xteam, Xmolecular are still available with this new release of Avizo 9. When you start Avizo, you will notice the new user interface. At the top, you will notice different tabs that allows you to switch between the different workrooms. Each workroom actually will present a specialized user interface for the different tools available inside Avizo. From this start page, what you will notice, you can open your recent data, you can open your recent projects, you can open a new data set, open a new project, or create actually a blank project directly from the start page. You can also have access to our help, getting started, some tutorials and videos from our YouTube channel. You have also access to the latest news, and you have also access to our corporate website, to the forum and to our social media websites. So if you want to start Avizo as it was with Avizo 8 with the default project view, as it is right now, what you can do, you can toggle on at the bottom of the start page this do not show at startup toggle, and then next time you will start Avizo, you will start with the default project workroom, and at any time you can go back there, switch back to the start workroom. So you can see also that we have a segmentation workroom, a filament workroom and an animation workroom that I will show a little bit later, that are showing specialized user interface for each of the different tools that are provided inside Avizo. So let's try to open a data set from the tutorial directory. I'm going to select this chocolatebar.am, and by default, as it was in Avizo 8, you don't have any visualization associated with this module. Okay, so you have the green icon showing the data, but nothing is actually showing up inside the 3D display. What we can do now inside Avizo 9, if we go to the preference menu and auto display, we can toggle on automatic display of new data. So you can select for new image data that is loaded what kind of visualization you want to associate. For instance, a volume rendering. For labeled images here we are using orthoslice. For surfaces we are using surface view, and for any other module we are actually using the bounding box. and you can actually select when you want this auto display to be activated. Only when new data is loaded, when new data is loaded or computed, or only the first time actually data is loaded during the session. So I'm going to select the when data is loaded. I'm going to apply this, and then I'm going to reload my volume data. As you can see, automatically we do have a volume rendering display that has been associated with the data, and I'm going to load my surface data, and automatically I do have a surface view data visualization associated with my surface object. At any time, what you can do, you can also decide that you want to switch this functionality off. So you can go up to this tool and disable auto display from this icon. Now if I duplicate my surface object, for instance, you will see that actually no new data visualization module are actually associated with my data. So this is an easy way to associate a default visualization module to your data, and this is actually a big change compared to former Avizo 8. Now you can choose what kind of visualization you want to automatically associate with your data whenever you load a new data set or compute a new data set, or only the first time you actually load a data set. So in Avizo 9 we are also adding a new probing mechanism. So if you select this new icon at the top, you can activate move sensitive probing. In this case, if I select this and go to pick mode, every time I'm moving the mouse on top of my data set, you will see on the lower left corner of Avizo application the current coordinate of the location of the cursor onto the data set, but also the current intensity at this location. And while you are moving around, actually, this location and intensity are going to be automatically updated in this mode. You can also select a click sensitive mode. So in this case, whenever you browse on top of the visualization, nothing is going to happen. But if you actually shift click at this particular location, you will get the XYZ coordinate of the visualization at this location, and also the intensity value at this location. What has been added also inside Avizo 9 is when you are moving an icon outside of the current frame, we do have actually now an auto-scrolling mechanism that allows you to extend the project view automatically when you are moving icon outside of the current display. If you do have also multiple visualization modules connected to multiple data, you can select the data and press the H key. Automatically all other visualization modules that are not associated with this data are going to be hidden, and you keep only the ones that are associated with the data. So let's come back to this workroom tabs at the top. So the start project and so on tabs that allows you to switch between the different workrooms. So you have the start page that we saw, that is the default landing page when you are starting Avizo 9. You have the project view. This is the default landing page when you are starting Avizo previous version. This is where you load your data, create your visualization network, create your computation, create all of your workflows, and produce a result. You have the segmentation workroom, and as you can see, each workroom has a specialized user interface, and we hope like this, that actually by presenting a user interface that is very specialized for each of the tools, that is going to make the use of Avizo much easier, and also shorten the learning curve for each of the tools that we are providing, so by using this specialized user interface. The filament editor workroom that I will detail a bit later for filament tracing, and the animation workroom that allows you to access this movie producer tools that allows you to create animation and movies that you can run inside Avizo or outside of Avizo. So for each of the workroom, you can decide exactly which kind of layout you want. So for instance, here I want inside the project workroom to show the color map, and then I want to dock the color map at the top of my window there on the left, and I can customize each of the layout like this. And now if I switch back to any other workroom, you will see that if I go back to my animation workroom, for instance, each of them has its customized layout. So this is a very convenient way of customizing the layout for each of the workroom. On the lower right corner of the viewer, you will notice a new toggle button that allows you to switch quickly on and off the console window. So you can just click on it to switch it on and off. You can also, if you prefer, for each of the panels, go to the window menu at the top, and for each of them select which one you want to hide or make visible. We do have also a shortcut which is Ctrl-Alt-A that allows you directly to hide or show the console using a keyboard shortcut as you want. Inside Avizo 9 we are also adding some new export capability when you want to save your network. Very often our customers are producing very complex workflow that may be very CPU or computation intensive. In this case, for instance, we have a little network with a non-local mean filter that is very popular but maybe actually very CPU or GPU intensive. We are using some auto thresholding module in order to produce our data. Now we want to save this network in different ways with Avizo 9. If we go to the file and save project as, automatically you will notice that we have a new pop-up window and that allows you to select if you want to minimize the project size or minimize the project computation. If you select minimize project size, then only the datasets that are required are going to be saved on disk, and next time you are going to reload your network, the network will go through all of the computation again to produce the intermediate result. You can also choose to minimize the project computation, and in this case all of the intermediate results are also going to be saved to the disk, and you won't need actually to recompute this next time you are going to reload your network. So in this way you are going to minimize your computation time. In Avizo 9 we are introducing this new XFiber extension that allows for extracting fiber centerline even from noisy images. This is a two-step process. The first step, we are going to define a template for a cylinder, and then the module is going to try to match this cylinder inside the 3D dataset. A second step is going to take the result from this correlation map and orientation map and extract the centerlines from these correlation results in order to give centerlines for each of the fibers inside the dataset. In order to illustrate the new XFiber extension we are adding to Avizo 9, here I'm loading a new network. So the dataset is a fiber reinforced piece of concrete that you can see in the upper left viewer there. You can see each of the fibers that we want to be able to extract and quantify or analyze and get some statistical information about each of these fibers. Attached to our concrete dataset we have a cylinder correlation module, and this is the first step actually of our centerline extraction process. Each of the ports allows you to customize this correlation module. As you can see, we do have a CUDA device port that allows us to run an accelerated version of the algorithm on any GPU that is supporting CUDA. And so this algorithm is CUDA based, and you will be able to get really good performance using this CUDA implementation depending on which graphics board you have on board. And then you can see all of the ports that allows you to define the template of the cylinder that is going to be used through this correlation process. So you can define the length, you can define the outer radius, the inner radius. So this means that you can actually have a hollow cylinder for the fibers. You can decide if you want fibers are bright or are dark, and then also you can correct missing wedge artifact that may be produced during the acquisition process. So once we have run this cylinder correlation, we are getting out of this a correlation field and an orientation map. This can run actually for several minutes, so here I'm not going to run it live. Out of this we are getting, and you can see it in this upper right viewer, we are getting this correlation map, and you can see also the correlation there using a color wash module onto the ortho slice. Once this is done, the two correlation map and orientation map are going to be given as the input of our trace line module, and this is a module that is going to extract the center lines from these two information that are produced by the cylinder correlation module. Once you have this, you get the center line that we can see in the lower right corner viewer there, and you have some statistical information associated with each of the fibers. You have their length, but also you are able to get orientation information as we are seeing here, so giving by two angles, phi and theta, giving the orientation of each of the fibers and also to which graph they are belonging, or to which. As part of the XFiber extension, so we just saw this correlation module and the centerline extraction module, we have also a filament or fiber editor module with this new filament workroom. Here I'm loading this neural network in order to illustrate this, but first I would like to point out this new VORREN module for volume rendering. While we still have, the volume rendering module that was available with Avizo 8, this new VORREN module is behaving a little bit differently. VORREN is only limited by the amount of memory you have onto your main computer, compared to volume rendering that is only limited by the amount of memory you have onto your GPU. And this is speaking about the resolution that you will be able to get. So VORREN using a multipass algorithm that allows you to render full resolution data whatever GPU memory is available, as long as the data is fitting inside your main memory. Volume rendering is able to load terabytes of data, but the full resolution will only be available if full data is fitting inside the GPU memory. So the resolution is going to be limited by the GPU memory you have in your system. Okay, so let's switch to the Filament workroom. So you can see we have a split viewers configuration there. We have some skeletonization that has already been done on the left side, so we can actually slice through the data, and you will see a projection view there with the skeletonization that has been generated, and on the right side you have a 3D view of this skeletonization. So the skeletonization was achieved using this trace tab there that you have on the left side, and the different algorithms that are providing to do the actual extraction of the skeletonization. And once you have run this algorithm, then you have as result this skeletonization that we are seeing there inside the two viewers. What you can do next is actually you have different tools that allows you to modify each of these filament or each of these traces that has been generated. In this example, what I'm doing, I'm selecting a point, and then I want actually to move the point a little bit further along the fiber. So I pick a new location, and automatically you can see that the fiber has been extended to follow the filament inside the 3D dataset. So this is a way of editing, adding new filament inside your dataset, or extract a particular fiber manually inside your dataset. So you can go to the Edit tab, and then you can identify all the different subgraphs that are part of your skeletonization. So here you can see we have 4 different graphs that we're able to highlight. What you can do also is look at the depth of your skeletonization. So I'm going to select a segment, and then I'm going to set this segment as a new root, and automatically you have ranked nodes according to the depth inside the skeleton. So here we are looking at rank 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. For each different rank we are able to highlight the particular branch inside the skeleton that is going to be identified. What we can do also, of course, is get some statistical information about this. So if I go back to my project view, I can open some statistics about this skeletonization. So here, for instance, I know that I have 4 subgraphs for a total of 99 segments. I have mean length information, mean radius information, total volume also, and total length for each of these subgraphs. Then I can go to individual graphs that are shown here. For each of them I have a number of segments, and I have the same kind of information about length, radius and volume. And then I can go for each segment, then I will have a length information, radius information, volume information as before, and I'm able also to get orientation information with the 2 angles phi and theta that give us individual information for each of the segments and to which graph actually they are belonging there. Now I would like to go through some of the enhancements and additions we did with this release of Avizo 9, and I would like to start with a new TIFF support that we are adding to Avizo 9 with some enhancement actually to our ability to read TIFF files. As you can see on this slide, a comparison between Avizo 8.1 and Avizo 9. So our TIFF support now includes support for tiles files that were not possible before. For different color model also are supported. New compression models are also supported, but most importantly we are able to load actually TIFF files that are larger than 4 GB. That was not possible before Avizo 9. We are also enhancing our color map editor with new options that are provided inside this color map editor. You are able now to reverse the bounds of your color map or your alpha curve directly by the click of a button. You will find new edit option. We are able also to zoom directly onto the color ramp using the mouse wheel. You are able to use the space key also as a shortcut in order to zoom to the actual range of your data. With each version of Avizo, we are also trying to enhance performance of some of the image processing modules and computation modules, and in order to make workflow much more efficient and much more faster. So these two slides are listing some of the modules that have been rewritten, re-implemented using a multi-threaded implementation of the algorithm, so our customer can get much faster workflow with this new version of Avizo 9. We have also enhanced some modules with Avizo 9. The label analysis, for instance, is introducing new measures such as a majority filter, for instance, some eigenvalue computation, some elongation computation also. The simplification editor has been enhanced in order to reduce the number of self-intersecting triangles. The generate surface also can now connect to 32-bit labels. That was not possible before with Avizo 8. Our Illuminated Streamlines module is able to color the streamlines according to the direction, as we can see in this snapshot on the right side of the slide. The Align Surface module also is able to take weight information from these vertices in order to perform the alignment of the surfaces. The Volume Edit now supports RGBA data as input, and the new Caption module allows you to connect to any data object and will display its name inside the 3D visualization. We are also adding new modules to this Avizo 9 release. So this is going to give you a list of some of the main modules that we are adding to this version. The point cloud filter, for instance, that allows you to filter a cloud of points depending on coordinates and data information. The spreadsheet point cloud module that allows you to convert a spreadsheet that has XYZ coordinate information into a point cloud. Point cloud density module that allows you to compute the local density of your cloud of points. A local thresholding module that allows for binary segmentation of an image stack into foreground and background. We have also this new corner cut module that allows you to remove 1 octant of a volume when displaying volume rendering using the new Volume module. An eigenvector color module that allows for color coding the direction of the first principal direction of the tensor field. A label to attribute module that allows you to create a volume from a corresponding label field, and measures that are resulting from an analysis. And then create automatic landmark that allows you to create automatic landmark according to intensity information and distance information inside your dataset. And finally, I would like to speak about some of the licensing enhancements that we are introducing with Avizo 9. So one of them is reactivation of license that is now already automatically suggested when Avizo is finding that one of the licenses has expired. We can process automatically the reactivation of expired licenses. But most important, with this version of Avizo 9, now you are able to use offline activation. So this means if your workstation where you want to run Avizo is not connected actually to the internet, we are providing an offline activation mechanism.